There's the sun on my face. Let's see. At the moment it's showing that nobody's here, so we'll just wait and see. Hopefully we'll get some people join us. For those of you that are joining and you're not watching live, just to let you know, it's 7:33 p.m. in the UK, and the proper virtual tour isn't going to start until 7:45 p.m. So you've got 12 minutes, so you can either watch the pre-live or you can scroll through 12 minutes. And if you have joined, if you can just do the age-old, let me see if you can hear me, if you can see me, and then all will be well. At the moment, it looks like there's one person on board, but now it's gone to 0. So that's interesting. So we should just wait and see what happens. But the good news is, if it's shown that there's been one person on board, does generally mean that the stream is working. So again, if you've just joined me, if you could let me know if you can hear me and if you can see me, that would be much appreciated. Because until I get that, I never know that it's working or not. So this is a virtual tour talking about Virtual Cat Rescue. No, it isn't about Virtual Cat Rescue at all. This is a virtual tour talking about Cypriot Cat Rescue. Virtual Cat Rescue, I suppose in some senses it was, because it was mainly done on the internet. So, Dawn, thank you very much. I appreciate that. I was starting to think that the stream wasn't in fact working, as nobody was talking to me. Seems a bit quiet today. Don't know what's happened to everybody. Is everybody enjoying their Saturday evening? It's unusual for me to do on a tour on a Saturday. So, hello, Boblet. Unusual for me to do a tour on Saturday. Hello, Rosie. Hello, Leslie. Well, that's reassuring because it's showing that there's only 2 people on board. But amusingly enough, there's 4 of you talking to me in the chat. I should never trust. I should never trust what I see. It is sunny. It is absolutely fabulously sunny. I've been out in Emsworth all day. So, well, I say all day. To be fair, we didn't leave the house till about 1:45. Amy works at McDonald's, obviously, while she's a student. So Lorna picks her up about midnight. So they were very tired. Emma's maybe eaten half a person each. That's lovely. So at the moment, I know that we've got Emma, Dawn, Leslie and Rosie. Whether or not you're all going to eat other people, I'm going to be slightly careful because as I'm walking backwards, there's actually a little wooden thing behind me. Oh, you didn't actually eat anyone. Thank you, Emma. I'm slightly relieved about that. I don't actually encourage cannibalism. I was hoping to be able to sit down and use a tripod on a bench, but unfortunately, because it is sunny, other people are actually sat using the benches, so slightly frustrating. I wanted a bench. And thank you, Rosie. Yes, how quickly you descended into cannibalism, but also may I just point out that only Emma. And actually no eating was involved, so I'm not sure that defines cannibalism. When I started the tour, I did let people know that I would obviously be starting properly in now what is 8 minutes, and that they could scroll through, and in some respects I don't think that's such a bad thing. Look, it looks like my hair's on fire. Let's just admire the fact that it looks like my hair's on fire. My hair isn't actually on fire, and I wouldn't be admiring the fact if it was. But that's actually obviously where the sun is, right behind my head. So maybe if I try and move around and not get the sun in my face, that's better, isn't it? That's a little better. So how is everybody? I wouldn't know if my hair was on fire, Tish. I think even I, although I can be slightly unobservant, would notice. Well, exactly. I think I probably would. I think it would be incredibly painful. Probably smell. Burning hair smells a bit, doesn't it? I'm trying to actually establish why I know this. I think that's just one of those things, if you perhaps got a candle and you accidentally... I don't know. My sister's cat sat fair to his tail. Not deliberately, I would say. Yes, gosh. Saturday evening, and here I am. Just about to walk you around Porchester Castle. How wonderful. And I won't say that because I'll tell you when we're actually... well, I will tell you, for those of you that hear, don't forget, this isn't a tour of Porchester Castle. It's a tour while I walk around Porchester Castle and talk about Cypriot cattails. See, it is a concern that I'm saying stuff I don't mean. I'm not talking about Cypriot cattails, because they would be furry and long. Tales of Cypriot Cat Rescue. Hello, Anne, please save me from myself. I've now managed to... Did you like the way I've now moved all the way around, and indeed the sun is right behind my head again? Well, interesting, Tish, that you ask about the spelling of tails, because when I wrote it this time round, I spelt it as a normal story, tale. But I noticed that when I first did this tour, which was in February 2022, that I wrote it as Tails, which I thought was obviously incredibly funny, but I forgot that it was incredibly funny and just put it down as story tales. Hello, young Casey. Did anybody see the Northern Lights yesterday? I'm trying to actually lift it up a bit. My chin's looking a bit podge. It's a homophone. I'm sure it is. I've now forgotten what it is, what I was talking about and why I'm actually here. I know it was about tails, but yeah. The light looks beautiful, thank you. Well, I admit I completely forgot that they were going to be a thing, mainly because, sorry if you heard a bang, I just smacked the microphone. I forgot because I'll be honest, I was talking about coming down to Hampshire for a while, but because they've closed the M25 this entire weekend, I was like, it's going to be an absolute nightmare to get down. So I literally made a last minute decision because I was faffing about a bit, and Lorna was like, are you coming down or not? So all right, I'll come down. And she said, you need to let Mum know. I said, I will, I'll let Mum know. Then the next day, Mum messaged me and went, are you coming down or not? I was like, funny that. I was going to message my mother yesterday, but it would appear I forgot. So because of all that, I completely forgot about the Northern Lights. And I've seen loads of pictures from people in Kent that have seen glorious Northern Light photos. I actually have been to Norway and I did see the Northern Lights, but what I would suggest, well, I wouldn't suggest, I would say, so when I saw them, they were the white curtains. So that was interesting, but none of the gorgeous colours that I've seen on some of the photos. And yes, apparently they are on again tonight. So my sister and I will be trying to keep an eye open for those. And Emma thought she was hallucinating. So that would have been fun. We went to Norway. Norway's absolutely fantastic. But the lights, I was like, oh, is kind of that it? I was expecting oranges and greens and purples, and I didn't. So they looked green and purple to the naked eye, Emma. Oh, how exciting. I thought that it was only because I went with Mum and Mick took photos of them. And in the photos, they looked green. But to the naked eye, they didn't. So I assumed that you only got those colours through taking a photo, which kind of blew my mind anyway. But so we've got 3 minutes before we go live. How exciting. Standing under a very nice tree, which I imagine gives a lot of shade. Slightly concerned because there's a lot of dogs around and don't necessarily want to be walking in any doggy deposits. Don't want to be porking in any doggy deposits. That's a completely different conversation. Just going to see, can you see this beautiful, beautiful tree? Isn't it splendid? Thank you very much, Leslie. Thank you. Yes, please do like the video if you enjoy the video. If you don't enjoy the video, then I apologise immensely. I did the best I could, I'm sure. And if you enjoy, again, please, if you could, as you may know, we are not paid a salary. We rely on the generosity of your tips. It is nice bark, isn't it? So hello, Susan, popping in. I saw the Northern Lights in Norway. The colours look better on the photos. Yeah, just fantastic. I could actually, I don't know why I'm doing this. It would be so much easier for me just to actually turn the camera around. Trying not to show you. Hi, Sandy. Look, it's just looking rather splendid. Well, we've still got a minute left. Just enjoy the splendiferousness of that tree. Oh, hello, Pizzazz. The numbers are bouncing around today. Oh, and a bit of music. Oh, they've turned the car off. That's good. Let's turn back to me. It's all about me, darling. So in a minute, I'm going to show you a little bit of the castle, just for a bit of a nose to set the scene. It's actually 7:45 p.m. now, so we are ready to start the tour. So I'm going to flip the camera around so you can actually see what I'm looking at, which is going to be slightly better than me. So this actually, I'm not sure if anybody joined me 2 years ago, you wouldn't have seen this because we didn't walk this far down. So I've come to the end. We can't actually, last time we were actually going, it is obviously a very large sort of fort space, castle grounds, whatever you call it. And we were actually able to go in and see the church inside last time. But it's out of hours, so it's closed now. So we were able to see a bit more of the exterior. But obviously that is just an added bonus, a view, because we're here for me to speak about my tales of Cypriot Cat Rescue. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my bag, and I have got company today. It is in Hampshire, yes. So I'm going to shove my niece off where she's been sitting so she can start walking. Otherwise, she'll be left behind. You're walking straight. Well, that was Amy. You just walked straight in the camera. So that person that didn't want to be on film has just managed to give you a bit of a shot of herself. That's my beautiful niece. She's now snickering away to herself. Oh, it's doggy on the run. Marvellous. So we've obviously got a few people here, so I'm going to raise the camera because I don't really want to be showing young people, i.e. children. Tish doesn't actually, not Tish, sorry, now I'm getting confused. Amy doesn't actually want to be on camera at all. Unfortunately, I think she thought I was still talking to myself, as in Saudi. So we're in Porchester Castle. We're at Porchester Castle, and Porchester Castle is actually in Porchester. It's in Hampshire. It's really beautiful. Folding. That's what the view would be like. I mean, not necessarily the cars, to be fair. I'm guessing they change. And you can see we've got some great colours at the moment. Waterside lane, so I think you all know what that means. That means we're obviously beside the water. And I'm going to get you another beautiful view here. So, let's talk Cypriot Cat Rescue. So we are going back to, in time, because we can do that, to 2017. And it's the first time I went away. Actually, no, that's a fib. The first time we went away with Mum and Mick, I say we as if I've got dual personality, but there's only one of me. The first time I went away with Mum and Mick was actually to Iceland, as I spoke about before. We saw the Northern Lights. And then I said it would be nice to do something every year. And so we arranged to go to Cyprus. And the Iceland holiday was actually really special. Mother said, look, your brother's been married, your sister's been married, by that had weddings. Let's face it, you never will. She never said that. She said, so I was thinking, as we haven't, put in for a wedding for you, that actually we'll take you to Iceland. So I got the better end of the deal, if I'm honest with you. So anyway, so off we decided to go to Cyprus, and we booked with I think it was a travel company, and the flight operator was Monarch. And anybody in the UK may know it's fine, Boo. Boo doesn't want me to kill myself by walking backwards because the car's just come. What she doesn't know is that I bounce, because I'm more interested in getting the view than being hit by a car. And of course, anybody in the UK will know that Monarch went bust. Well, Monarch went bust less than a month before we were due to go on holiday. So that was the bit of a dilemma. How do we actually fly to Cyprus if the flight company has gone under? Anyway, managed to get another flight, so that was really fortunate. Turned up at the hotel, which was called the Vrisiana. Nice hotels, good locations. And when we got there, went to, okay, right, oh dear, buffering. Yeah, we lost signal. And it went from 5G. So is everybody back with me now? I think there's a bit of delay on the chat. So I'm going to stay here until I know I am back now. Good. Okay, right. So we went to the Vrisiana, and I remember going down the corridor, and it was a tired carpet. I mean, the carpet didn't say, oh gosh, I'm a little bit worn out. You know what I mean. I was like, okay. And I think there was an issue with Mum's room, and when we went to reception, they said, well, actually, we could actually, you could stay in our sister hotel, Odessa Hotel. I was like, oh, right, what's wrong with that hotel? Why are they sending us there? And they said, and we could actually upgrade you to all-inclusive. Now, I'm not one of these people that gets these things. You go to the airport and some people get upgraded to first class and all this nonsense. And recommend a proper visit if ever you do come to Hampshire. Join English Heritage, and then you can see lots of their splendid heritagey things. Basically old stuff, looks lovely. Proper old, not just, a little bit creaky like me. And all inclusive. And I remember, because I'm such a cynical, suspicious lovely. And the bonus was that my mother had booked a sea view, and by her booking a sea view, they put us on the same floor, about 2 doors down, and amazingly, I got a free sea view. So I did very well on that holiday. Oh dear, somebody has left their glasses. Shall we see? Shall we see? Oh, the arms are very wiggly. I'll be honest, they aren't my prescription. I can't see. I think they might be one of those tinted lenses. But they're actually not bad, are they? Emma's lost a pair, but she doesn't think they're hers. No, I'm going to put them back because I'm a good human being. Just had a message come through from the cat sitter that the cats are doing well. Didn't get to read it all, but that's always reassuring. Please keep dogs on leads. Now, what we're looking at through here, let's see if we can get a bit of fine art, just to interrupt my story, is you are looking at St Mary's Church. Does it make everything wibbly wobbly? What, the glasses? No. Just made me, everything was out of focus. I'm a bit wibbly wobbly. So there you are. I can't see because the chat annoyingly is correct. Let me turn the chat off a second so I can actually see what you're seeing at the moment. That's better. Then I'll turn the I won't turn the camera around. You don't need to see me anymore. We'll walk past the case of the mysterious lost glasses. And so there we were, me with my lovely sea view. And the trouble is, I'm so very unobservant that you kind of perhaps don't appreciate it as much as perhaps some people would. And Cyprus, I'd sort of perhaps upper medium. Buffering. Yeah, it is buffering. This is really annoying. Have you got your Wi-Fi switched off?
Yeah.
I don't mean Wi-Fi. Yeah, sorry guys, I've no idea why this is buffering. I can actually tell. There's absolutely no reason because actually it was fine last time. Right, okay, well, we'll carry on with Mr. Buffer and his bufferettes. So we took a couple of tours to the North Cyprus, and I won't get into the politicals of this because obviously this is a very contentious issue. But we did actually cross from Cyprus into northern Cyprus when we went to Nicosia. Or Nicosia, I forget which way round it is, and I'm sure hopefully you'll work out which one it is. I did think to myself, I must double check. Obviously forgot. You can go there and literally you walk across. So what we did, because we thought it'd be interesting, is we had our passports because we had to go into northern Cyprus. So obviously it's again a border, and let me just show you this. Oh wow, the streaks in the sky are looking fantastic. No, exactly, Gregory. I realise I say a lot of words wrong, which for a virtual tour guide isn't actually the greatest thing, probably. Isn't the sky beautiful? Yeah. Whoops, wee. So, we went to Famagusta, which is basically a ghost town. And it is very good. It is not smell-o-vision. The reason for this is there is an incredibly strong smell of seaweed. And it's not the most attractive smell, I will just tell you that. I came round and just double-checked the route again. And when we came round to this bit, yes, the smell does hit you. And there's just beautiful views from here. I would suggest the tide's probably out, which is probably why it's a little bit stinky, because it's not covered up. Oh, that's interesting. Susan says if you wash off the salt, it's good for the garden, but you have to ask permission to take it. When I was down at Emsworth earlier today, I did actually see people taking, well, I saw one person with seaweed in a bag. Although, and to go completely off topic, I saw a man hugging a swan. And I wouldn't believe you if you told me that this was a thing. So obviously everybody's looking at him and nobody's saying anything. So me being me goes up to him and says, do you know her? Oh, which was obvious. He said, yes, she's my third cousin. No, he didn't say that at all. He said, yes, she's about 3 years old. And the swan was just he was actually stroking her foot. It was fantastic to watch, and the swan wasn't bothered at all, completely happy. That man has obviously, you know, he did feed her. I say her, I assume it was a her. I think he said her. And she would have made quite clear if she wasn't happy. And actually we had a little chihuahua run round nearby, off lead, which wasn't a great idea, and the swan did hiss. But absolutely perfectly comfortable with that man. And I just thought that was an amazing thing to see. And if I remember, and you'll need me to remind me, I imagine. You'll not need me to remind me, you will need to remind me. Is that I've got a photo. I mean, it's more of him actually nestling down to the swan. But yes, absolutely interesting to see. So we went on these tours to northern Cyprus, and been a couple of day tours, and we had a couple of days left, and I think, or maybe 3 days left. I said, oh, well, let's do something else, but not another full day. And so we went into this little agency, and I saw an advertisement for a half-day Jeep tour. So I said, well, why don't we do that? And it was, if I suddenly pass out, it is from the smell of seaweed. It's all right. I've got Amy with me. She'll carry me. I saw, it's buffering again. I'm sorry, guys. There is, I'm not going to know because it isn't actually telling me when it goes. I've had one where it's reconnecting. And the only, do you know what? Do you know what? It's exactly what it is. It is the reason for the Northern Lights. It's the geomagnetic activity, and they did say that it may interfere with mobile phone signals. So I imagine that it's exactly what it is. But of course I could be completely wrong, and it could be the seaweed, as somebody in the chat has suggested. Anyway, so we're driving along, and I actually saw a dead cat. And normally in England, I would pick the cat up. Leslie, can you refresh? Can somebody ask Leslie to refresh? Because I do think that sometimes if it is buffering, what you need to do is refresh, and actually then it will get you your better signal back. I would take the cat to the vet, find out if it had been chipped. And if it had been chipped, it can be reunited, and that happened to me in 2014. Or, you know, at least then that cat will have a kind of a better way of, you know, leaving, i.e. rather than just being left on the side of the road. And unfortunately, I realised I'm in Cyprus. That is absolutely nothing I can do about it. Hello, lethargy. So then we drove on. And we went, if I recall, we went a little bit off-road in this Jeep, but not far. And I was thinking of using Prism, because I thought what I can do is, instead of lift photos, I can actually put them within the Prism app. However, I know that Natalie very recently has had issues with the photos in the prison app, and I thought to myself, I cannot bear any more technological nightmares, especially because my spanner is not with us. So I decided to continue with Streamlabs and do it really old school, which is lift up the photo. Hi Ronnie. Now bear with me, because as I've got a frozen shoulder and because I've been on again. Right, definitely went then, and it hasn't come up to the whether or not. Right, so what I've done is, I think you're back with me now. I've turned it, actually turned my mobile data off and then turned it back on. I'm not sure that I do anything, but you know, it's better than not doing anything, isn't it? And so we saw this. Now this chapel that I showed the photo of is obviously really pretty and looks lovely. I just want to quickly show you here. Can you see at the top, you've got those pretty little flowers that are growing out of the walls. And again, you can see them there, a little bit of... Can I
just stay here? On the edge, yes, but not further out.
Well, I love the fact that you said it was on my, other phone. It's actually, I've gone old school, Sandy. Sorry, I'm trying to... I'm not sure. I think actually I'm going to stay here a little bit because we've got a family behind me, children. So you can see lots and lots of things that are growing out of the castle walls. Very loud, yes. And I've got my muffler on as well. So I just decided it was easier than competing. Nature always finds a way. Isn't that fascinating? So we got there and Michael says there's a cat there, and I said, where? Right, are you back again? Because it keeps showing me that I haven't got you. So for these long pauses are literally not me knowing what to say, but me not wanting to speak while I think I've lost you. So, right, okay. So can you see there, just before the stairs go down, but you can see a little cat. Okay. And so what did it, excellent. So what did I do? I thought to myself, hello. Obviously I said hello to the cat. And I probably gave her a little stroke. And of course those that have been on a few tours with me will know that the reason that I knew it was a she is because it's a calico. And 99.9% of calicos are female. And we went down the steps and we went into this cave, which had a little shrine. And then I looked up. I looked up at the top of the cave, and can you see what I can see there? Apologise, the wind is rustling that around, but hopefully you're getting the idea of what I can see. Can you see what I can see? There's a cat. And it's not another kitty, Emma. It's the kitty. And at this point, I'm like, well, this is a little bit concerning because I gave her some attention. She is, she's looking down and I'm worried she's going to fall in. So I was like, well, I can't enjoy this anymore. So, I left Mum and Mick in the cave and I went to see the cat, and she was a very friendly little thing, and I sat down and this is what she did. And I was like, oh gosh. And she gave me a little lick, which was very sweet. And she actually, she really enjoyed this, and she took her own selfie. And I thought to myself, gosh, this is a lovely cat. I'm just going to have to walk through. Wouldn't normally, but otherwise we'll be here all day. So let's walk, show the wall. And she was a lovely little cat, and I googled and I found the local cat rescue. And they, sorry, because actually that probably looks a bit grim sideways, watching that rush past, give you motion sickness. Hopefully we're all clear now. I tell you, this tour has been one of the most stressful for a while, but hey ho, that's life. And so I messaged this lady, and my message was, do you know the stray cats which are at Cape Greco? And she said, yes, I do actually. Why? I said, oh, well, because I'd like to pay to get her neutered, because I thought to myself, she's probably 6 to 7 months old, and I don't want her to be living a life of a Cypriot stray, having loads of kittens. And she said, we know the colony well. She said at the beginning of the season, just before it started, there were about 26 strays, and now there's about 6. And unfortunately, the reason for this is that they are viewed by a lot of locals as nothing more than rodents, say, for example. So they would think nothing really of necessarily poisoning these animals. And I thought to myself, I could pay to get this cat neutered, and I can send her back, and she could end up being poisoned, and I just couldn't do that. So I ended up saying, how much would it cost for her to come to the UK? And she gave me a price which was nearly €700, and it's a lot of money. And it's interesting. Basically, other countries' attitudes towards animal welfare differ, and there are now, networks of rescues within Cyprus, but it takes time for cultural change. So I spoke to the lady, and she said yes, she could, and this is what it would cost, and she would keep an eye out for her. And it's very challenging because I'm back in England now, thinking to myself, I can't just suddenly go and get this cat. Is anybody going to find this cat? And the lady spoke to me, and she said, I basically went down there, didn't see the cat. Okay, fine. Then the next time it was, somebody saw the cat but didn't have the cat basket. So this is obviously all rather frustrating. And then she said, we've been there, and couldn't see the cat. Asked the ice cream man, who advised that somebody came down and took 6 cats, and one of them was your cat. Well, you can imagine. Oh my goodness gracious me. She said, I know who's taken her. I'll give you a contact. Mention me, because we don't get on. So I thought, oh great, I've hit drama. So then I phoned this lady, and it was the most expensive phone call I've ever had in my life, and it may not seem a lot to some of you, but I spent £12 on an international phone call to Cyprus. And when she answered the phone, it was very much, who are you and what do you want type of thing. So I had to persuade her that I wasn't actually, you know, a bad person, and that I was somebody she might indeed want to rehome a cat to as a separate rescue. And she said, well, actually, it's not me. I was asked to pick these cats up by a lady from Norfolk. So then I spoke to the lady from Norfolk, and it turned out that she had asked for a couple of kittens to be picked up, and the woman had picked up some other cats. I think it was 4, not 6, that she'd picked up in the end. And she said, actually, that cat and the other sister, we don't have homes for. Would you like them both? And at this point, I'm like, would I like them both? No, I absolutely would not like them both. I already had 4 cats. I kind of wasn't looking for a 5th. I'd never had a female cat, and no, I jolly well don't want a second. Well, fortunately, she did find somebody to take the other calico, who she said was Odessa's sister. Whether or not she was, we'll never know. She is indeed a calico, but she's actually a short-haired calico. So when you go abroad, you see lots more calicos. So I was like, okay then. So Tina, to answer your question, what is this tour? The tour is Tales of Cypriot Cat Rescue. It's on the Together Virtually calendar, and I set it up on YouTube about a week ago, and I've publicised it on Leonie on Tour. So it's interesting that you haven't seen it. If there's any other way I can get these tours out to people, then please do let me know. So what we did was we then set about. Odessa had already been neutered at this stage. They'd taken it in. First thing they'd done is got her neutered. She had to have a pet passport, which shows that she's had her cat vaccinations, her rabies vaccinations. She's microchipped, and a traces certificate. So it was all quite convoluted, but literally within 3 weeks after, pretty much 3 weeks afterwards, she's flying from the UK to the Gatwick Animal Rescue Centre, the ARC, the Animal Rescue Centre. And when you actually rescue from abroad, you end up being in lots of chat. So I had one for the flight, one for obviously with the rescue directly, one with the other lady, all these chats. They do not have to have photos on pet passports. And I can actually show you the pet passport because I have brought it with me. European bear-like. She is trying to work out where her black bear-like pouch was. Black bear-like patch was. And 2 years, I think. And then it suddenly occurred to me that it wasn't a black bear-like patch. It was possibly a black beard-like patch. And I'll be honest, I felt like a bit of a twit. But never mind. So she came across with her sister in a double crate. She came across with another 2 dogs, I think, and maybe another 4 cats. And I remember meeting these people at the Animal Reception Centre. And what was interesting is that, unbeknownst to me, I had said obviously I would sign for Odessa, that actually had also been put forward as signing for the other dogs and cats at the same time. So when I got there, I was slightly concerned that I could end up with, you know, having the other person not come to collect their animals and suddenly acquiring a dog. And then what would I do with the dog? Fortunately, that didn't happen at all. Now, I did think that we would be able to see something of the sunset. And as with all things, today has not gone, as I literally just fell down a hole, according to plan. So the flight itself, for the UK, cats go in the hold. And that's actually a really difficult thing to think about, that your cat is actually in the hold. And unfortunately, I have seen reports where animals have died because it's been too cold or they've had something crush them. But that's coming to Britain and obviously leaving Britain. Other countries, they will be allergic to animals, don't want these animals. Right, do we? I have absolutely no idea. What's the worst that can happen? Not bad, can it? So, look, splendid. Is that the police? Have they actually come for me? Oh, I say, let's hope not. Well, that doesn't give us any better view of the sunset at all. So shall we go back and actually look out onto the sea again? I think I would prefer that view. If I can remember where we went, let's do that. And of course, the other problem that you sometimes have is that animals escape before they even get onto the plane. And that's absolutely terrifying because they break out of their carrier and you're never going to get them. About the buffering, I'm afraid there is absolutely nothing I can do. All I would suggest is that next time it says there's going to be major geomagnetic storms, I am not going to schedule at all. It may have nothing to do with it, but having done this tour before and been absolutely fine. So Odessa made the flight, and this is Odessa and friends all ready to board the flight. And I think, well, I can't tell. The thing is, interestingly enough, though, when they get there, I think they might clean them up a bit, because obviously they've probably done a number 1, a number 2 and a number 3, if number 3 is what comes out of the mouth. So who knows? I mean, Milo couldn't even hold it on a half-hour journey to the vets. So quite frankly, he'd be no good on a plane, although he's not getting a holiday. So we don't need to worry about that. So the lady that took Twinkle, the possible sister of Odessa, actually lives in Dartford. So she drove to me and I drove her to the airport reception centre, the animal reception centre at the airport. And interestingly enough, I was obviously concerned about these two cats having another journey after their flight. So what I thought I'd do is I thought I'd take the wrong turning and make the journey even longer. So that's what I did. And go me. That was great. And we unpacked them, as it were, when we got to my bathroom, the classiest place to do it. And Odessa and Twinkle were both so very, very friendly, so incredibly friendly. And I did say to the lady who took Twinkle, I said, I think this is stress. I don't think they're actually going to be this friendly. And to be fair, I was right. When Odessa is stressed, she becomes super, super cuddly, which is actually quite nice. But also, I don't think you'd want a cat that was so intensely all over you. And that'll be me falling over a large stone. I will find this blasted sum for you, if it's the last thing I do. Apparently, one of the things I will do to achieve it is walk in wet seaweed, which gave a bit of a squelch. No, so E. Urbach is asking, did the cats and dogs have to go through quarantine at the animal centre before you pick them up? No, because they'd already had the rabies vaccination. So that's part of the pet passport. And they have the first one, and then 3 weeks later they have the booster, which is why it would take them a minimum of 3 weeks before they can actually travel. And if my niece can locate my, before I do that, what I will show you is this, which is a photograph in November 2017 of when I had brought Odessa down. And the reason why I picked the name Odessa is because it was the name of the hotel that I stayed at. The blue thing is the pet passport. And I really like the name. And obviously it is also a city in Ukraine. And my sister has 2 Ukrainian guests that are staying with her since the war, and they come from Odessa. And I'm just going to try to find, if I can find you, there you are. Vaccination against rabies. So you can see that it was first done on the 27th of the 10th, and then the follow-up one was done on the 17th of the 11th. And she came across, I believe it was the 20th of November. Don't know if you can hear the birds. And at the time, I was very fortunate that I was actually, there's a Facebook group called Ginger Cat Appreciation Society. And I'd posted on there that I'd actually was, you know, rescuing a cat from Cyprus, and somebody suggested I put up a GoFundMe, and unbelievably, by the time my family also contributed, I had raised enough to bring her across. I'd also had to pay the original lady who was going to rescue her enough money to neuter a female. And originally I was unsure about whether or not, you know, I was kind of, I don't understand why people would rescue one cat when that money, say €600, could actually neuter 20 cats. And therefore it would, you know, reduce the population issue. However, of course, I wouldn't have raised that money to neuter 20 cats. And then I saw this, which I had actually taken from a Voyager, and I can't remember who it was, but I love this. Saving one cat will not change the world, but for that one cat, their world will change forever. And absolutely, that is what has happened. Odessa has not had to live on Cape Greco, where I know she was being fed. There was an English chap who was going out and feeding the strays. But not only that, on Ginger Cat Appreciation Society Facebook, obviously I do love me a ginger cat, there was a chap wrote and said, "Oh, I think we're feeding your cat." And I was like, that's ridiculous. Obviously you won't have been feeding my cat. My cat's in Cyprus and you're in Britain. And he sent me a video. And he sent me a video of him feeding Odessa at Cape Greco. And they were so happy that I had actually adopted her, because they said she's such a lovely cat. And she is a lovely cat. She's a lovely cat, probably for a percentage of time, when she is an absolute little monkey, and she has met her match in Apollo. My concern about adopting any more animals was that Odessa would attack them. When it comes to feeding time, Apollo comes up and he bops Odessa around the head. And she doesn't do anything, which is quite frankly astonishing to me. But for those of you who follow my page Leonie on Tour, they will know that she stopped eating about a couple of months ago. And when I took her to the vets, she would go back and just walk around the outside of the castle again. When I took her to the vets, she managed to basically examine her. And I said, look, she isn't great at being examined. I said, you know, one time she's come in and they've said, oh, you know, took two of us to take her temperature, and then the next time it was like, well, actually three of us and we couldn't take her temperature. So I said, she's not necessarily the easiest cat. Caution, flooding a narrow path. So this is interesting for you. We are, I mean, can you see, obviously we are here. There's the massive area of Porchester Castle. There's St Mary's there, and there's the keep. I did want to say, look inside, and there's the steeple, look inside, there's all the people, but I won't, because that would just be very silly. So when she went in, unfortunately, I said, I think, she did manage to do some stuff, but I said, I think she's had enough now. And she gave her an appetite stimulant, and she gave her an injection, and unfortunately she hadn't improved. And by the time I took her back the next day, they couldn't take her temperature and she had to be admitted. She had to be admitted for a scan, but also because she would not let them take her temperature. And when the vet phoned me up, the vet was right. I mean, I noticed on her notes it said flight risk, you know, and I was like, well, no, she's not very happy. But the woman said, yeah, no, she's not great in the kennel. And I said, have you stroked her? And she said, no. I think they thought because she can be a bit of a demon. I said, she's actually, so what she did is she then phoned me back later that day and she said, I did what you said, I stroked her on the head. And she was incredibly affectionate. I said, yes, she's just scared. She isn't mean. I mean, sometimes she can be a little bit mean, but, you know, hey-ho. So, and I've actually got the notes saying that she's highly strung. Highly strung. And I look back and I go, I have no idea, because when we got her and the vet said, yeah, she's about 7 to 8 months. So I probably saw her when she was 6 to 7 months. We have absolutely no idea what happened to her. Was she born as a stray at Cape Greco and had human socialisation, obviously because they rely on people feeding them? Or was she born and then dumped? I will never know. I do know that obviously tortitude is this thing, and calicos and tortoiseshells do have a bit of a reputation for being little monkeys. So it may well be that it's got nothing to do with the fact that she's a Cypriot rescue. She just can be a bit of a moo. And that's kind of that. So yeah, that was my first foray into Cypriot Cat Rescue. It wasn't the last. I did get involved when over COVID, because obviously the cattery, we weren't able to meet people and we weren't able to go out to visit their homes and do home checks and everything. So I joined, I suppose, the online community working with a charity in Cyprus. And the lady, you know, who had picked up Odessa, she eventually, you know, she actually set up her own proper sanctuary. Odessa is eating, yeah, and properly now, and you really wouldn't know that she'd been ill. But I always, when I feed her, if she's not instantly in there, I'll always have a little bit of a, because obviously, as you say, Gregory, I'm entirely calm. Always have a little bit of a mini panic and think to myself, gosh, I hope that she is going to eat. Cato, sometimes I'll put the food down and, whoops, that was a big old stone, that banged my toe, and he'll just decide he doesn't like the flavour. But there's no consistency in the flavour that he doesn't like, so it gets a little irritating, to say the least, or at least there may be consistency in the flavour he doesn't like. But as you know, my memory would mean that I don't remember what that is. There you are. Managed to get a sneaky dog for you guys. Oh no, she's been with us. She's been with us since 2017 now. So she's actually 7. So she's a proper British cat now. She's doesn't really get to speak Cypriot much. She had a viral infection. Her temperature went up to about 40 degrees. She was on fluids, and yeah, it was a very concerning time. We have reached the official end of the tour. So have you got any questions? Cats are particular though, aren't they? That's part of their joy, their idiosyncrasies. I do apologise for the buffering. That's highly annoying. Got full 5G now. What I will probably do one day is actually do a tour and talk about Porchester Castle and the history of Porchester Castle. But this is a tour that I've said I'd repeat for quite some time. Tina, if you're still watching, I hope you can go back to the original. Thank you, Leslie. Well, I think a lot of people in that situation, I mean, I do tend to have some sort of animal drama on my holidays. I've ended up, you know, being involved in the rescue of a couple of dogs, saving a tortoise from being run over. It is, isn't it? Lovely castle. I'll be honest, there's a big owl. There's a big owl there. And as I say, last time we came earlier and we were able to actually walk inside. Right, yes, I can see we've had a bit of a buffer. And I can see as well that, thank you, Leslie, thank you, Casey, thank you, Anne, that's very kind of you. I think that one was actually just because I got too close to the door, potentially without actually walking through it. Yes, this was a great fort to ward off invaders, because obviously it's got a great position. And it's really interesting thinking about I know obviously it's a ruined castle, but if you think about the amount of money it would take to maintain a building such as this, and buildings like these are so kind of I do love history and thinking of who's walked this path before. And I have got, when I first did this tour, Tales of Cypriot Cat Rescue, I was going to follow it up with a sequel. I haven't actually got round to doing that yet. It's been 2 years. So I will try to find another nice location, not in a geomagnetic storm. And we'll have to do Tales of Cypriot Cat Rescue, the return. And as I said, it is the official end of the tour, but I also know that if I said to you, I'm going to switch off now, you'll ask for me to walk you back to the car, so I am walking you back to my car. You're not actually going to get in the car, because you won't all fit, I apologise. We're back to... I could have taken the quicker route back as well, I think, which would have avoided the smelly seaweed. But perhaps there are some healing benefits. The timing is quite appalling because I won't get home till about gone 9, and I haven't actually had a proper dinner. Had a snack, which probably means I won't be hungry. So I've done well, I think. Oh, thank you, Susan, for the tip. That's just pinged up on my screen. I haven't hurt my shoulder any more than it already is. Actually, they're actually quite noisy. They're quite active. And therefore, I had a dreadful night's sleep again. So that's joyful. It's a bit of a thing every time I come down. I've had lots of things going off, the fire alarm beeping every so often. And right, you're back now, I'm guessing. Interestingly enough, I actually went to turn my mobile phone signal off and it had gone. So yeah, I am going to call it a day while we're looking at this beautiful view. I can only assume it's been the magnetic storm. So Asheriff, yes, unfortunately we've been plagued by buffering throughout this tour, and it has been rather frustrating. So I'm going to turn the camera back to me, and I'm going to say thank you very much to those of you who have managed to stay on. Thank you to everybody that's liked the video and tipped, and I hope to see you again very soon. Bye bye.